Hello! Welcome to my channel. My name is Tessa. This is my beer for today. I actually just had a coffee. I went to Metropolis right around the corner from my house to buy coffee, like ground coffee, because I'm running low on coffee. And they were like, oh, you get a free cup of coffee with your purchase. And I'm like, oh, great. It's after 5 p.m. But that's fine, you know? Fuck it. I mean, what the hell? Why not? So now I have to balance out the caffeine with some beer so I can go to sleep later tonight. So, hey. What's up, you guys? So, I'm drinking Isolation Ale. I'm just letting you know what I'm drinking. And I guess it's like a little malty. It's a, what is this? Here in Colorado, summer's barely over before our eyes start searching for those first fall flakes, and for the return of Isolation Ale, a smooth caramel malty ale balanced by a subtly crisp hop finish. Yeah, that's pretty much what it tastes like. I'm kind of a weirdo. I love my citrus. I will put a lemon in pretty much anything. So I got some lemon in here, okay? I got some lemon in here. All right, so what's up, you guys? I literally just walked into my house like 5 minutes ago and like right away to the tube, okay? Right away to the camera because I am going to be filming Capricorn through the houses, okay? So yeah, so this is going to be new on my channel as well. So every month I'm going to do the zodiac sign of the season. Capricorn season is literally about to wrap up. So I'm doing it towards the end, but that's okay because we're going to get it done, okay? And then tomorrow, I'm pretty sure it's tomorrow. Tomorrow, the nodes shift from South Node in Sagittarius, North Node in Gemini, to South Node in Scorpio, North Node in Taurus. And I am like feeling it, okay? I'm already feeling it, especially because I do have significant Scorpio placements in my chart. So it's like, that is where like the full moon in Cancer is definitely kind of like triggered those deeper emotions and things to kind of like come up to the surface. But with this nodal return, I already was kind of aware of it. I was already preparing for it. I'm about to end my nodal return. So the nodes in my personal chart, I have South Node in Sagittarius, North Node in Gemini. So I'm wrapping up my nodal return. And now we're about to shift into South Node in Scorpio, North Node in Taurus. Okay, so I am going to do a collective tarot reading. I'm not going to go into the nodal shift right now, but stay tuned for the collective tarot reading that I'm going to be doing when the nodes shift, okay? So either tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. For some of you, you are going to be having your nodal return, okay? So if you do have your South Node in Scorpio or your North Node in Taurus, then you will be undergoing your nodal return, and I'll explain more about what that means in the next video. So, with that being said, I just walked through my door. Yeah, I was at the dermatologist today, got some medicine, because I get like hormonal breakouts, I have dandruff, I'm like a hot mess over here, so, you know, just trying to take care of myself, just trying to be healthy. I had the worst experience with doctors in 2020. I was paying for medical insurance through the marketplace, and I got zero medical care. I was not able to see a single doctor, only a dentist. I was only able to see a dentist, and I was like so pissed off. So now I have like Medicaid or whatever, government help. And now I'm seeing all these specialists and I'm like, hook it up, give me that medication. So I got some like acne cream, I got some pills for hormonal shit, I got some medicated shampoo and some like itch relief, whatever. All right, so yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I swear to God, beer just tastes good with lemon in it, okay? It doesn't matter what kind of beer drink, it tastes good with lemon. It tastes better with lemon, unless it's like Guinness or something. So, okay, yeah, so what else do I want to say before I get into this? Oh my God, I've been working on my NFTs, okay, for my first NFT collection drop. I'm so excited because every single time I get like really creative with it and I think that I'm about to be finished with it, then I like come up with this other idea and I'm like, oh my God, that's even more brilliant than before. You know, like, well, you guys know, like, anybody who creates shit out there, it doesn't matter what it is, it's like you feel like you're getting somewhere, you're like, okay, this is going good, and then like, you know, you're kind of trying to like wrap up, you know, whatever it is you're creating, whether it's a song or painting, and then like suddenly, you know, you start getting these like other ideas. You're like, oh my God, but it would be so much better if I did this, right? And it's like, how do you know when to stop? Even as a writer, I'm like, whoa, where do I stop? You know, at some point you just got to draw that line. I used to be such a perfectionist and I used to be so like, no, it's not perfect yet. And I realized like I wasn't going to get anywhere with that kind of mentality. It's like at some point you just got to be like, no, bitch, like just stop right there. Just take it as it is and whatever, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, you got to find that balance. Okay? But yeah, like I'm really excited. I've been working on it and I'm just excited to see how, you know, to see at what point is my perfectionist side going to be like, that's enough, you know? And at what point am I going to be like, okay, it's time to just like let it go. Send it off into the universe and see what sticks, right? Okay, so yeah, I'm excited to do these videos, okay? So Capricorn through the houses, first and foremost, what you need to know, I am not talking about Capricorn Sun over here, okay? I'm not talking about your Capricorn Sun through the houses, okay? This is going to be very specifically Capricorn. Every single person that is watching this video has Capricorn in their chart, okay? Our birth charts are made up of every single zodiacal energy, okay? We have, every single one of us has Capricorn somewhere in our chart, we have Capricorn. Maybe the energy is not as like prominent, maybe it's not as concentrated, maybe you don't have any planets in Capricorn, but you still have Capricorn somewhere in your chart. Maybe Capricorn is on a cusp. It could be on the first house cusp, which means that you're a Capricorn ascendant. It could be on the third house cusp, on the ninth house cusp, okay? But it can also be intercepted, okay? And when Capricorn is intercepted in your chart, I use the Placidus house system, okay? FYI, please be aware, I use the Placidus house system. It's not equal house. It's not whole sign. Things are not equally divided into, you know, fine, manageable categories. No, it's a fucking mess. The energy flows. It's fluid, okay? This is astrologers who take a more psychological approach to interpreting birth charts use the Placidus house system, okay? If you don't have Capricorn on a certain cusp of your birth chart, then that means that Capricorn is intercepted somewhere, which means that it's kind of like, it is in a house, but it's kind of like stuck in between two zodiac signs. So it doesn't rule that house because whatever the ruler of that house is going to be whatever zodiac is on the cusp and the planetary ruler of that zodiac, okay? So when Capricorn is intercepted, it's just, it's a more internalized subconscious kind of energy that is like moving through over here, okay? So I'm going to get into all of that as we talk about Capricorn through all the houses, okay? So anybody can watch this video. If you don't know like where you have Capricorn in your chart, there's plenty of websites out there where you can check out your, you know, where you can type in your birth chart information. You would need to know your exact. You would need to know your exact birth day, your exact birth time, and your exact birth location to get the exact coordinates of where Capricorn is falling in your chart. Okay, otherwise, if you want to get a personal chart reading from me, you can definitely email me down below. I do personal birth chart readings. If you want a free birth chart reading from me, the only thing that it will cost you is going public. That's pretty much it, okay? Your name would be anonymous, but basically if you want a free birth chart reading from me, just email me, let me know that, you know, you want a free chart reading and give me like an anonymous like name or whatever. And what I'll do is I'll dive into your birth chart. I'll interpret your whole chart for you, but I'm going to film it and I'm going to post it up on my channel and I'm going to make it public so people can learn about astrology, okay? So you're kind of like a guinea pig a little bit, but you know, you also get like a free chart reading in the meantime. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing. So, you know, take your pick. But yeah, let's so with that being said, let's get into this. So also FYI, I do not edit my videos, okay? I mean, I don't edit like my bloopers. I don't edit meat, okay? So if I have like moments, and we are still in Mercury retrograde, so if I do have moments of just like, you know, getting lost in thought, that's just gonna be a moment. Yeah. That's just gonna be what it's gonna be. So okay, so let's get started. So if you have Capricorn on your first house cusp, okay, and that basically means that Capricorn is covering that line, okay, that line of the first house, okay, so it's going to be like right between the 12th house and the first house. This means that your ascendant is Capricorn, okay, and this also means that your chart ruler is Saturn. Okay, so what does that mean, like your chart ruler, to have Capricorn on your ascendant, to have your chart ruler be Saturn? Well, it's kind of like saying like your whole, like your path in life, okay, your spiritual path. Generally speaking, your path in life is about obtaining success, okay? It's about being successful. It's about accomplishing your goals, okay? You're a very ambitious, determined individual, okay? Everything is and you exude yourself out into the world in this very, like, you know, you like to start you know, you like to start projects, and you know, it's kind of like this big boss, it's kind of like boss energy, where you could be very determined to you know, start certain projects, and to, you know, become like social status is important to you. Just kind of like being this energy for people that allows you to I think that you like to be seen as this successful person, as a hardworking person, as someone who's ambitious and driven and determined, and who's good at making money, right? Who's good at making money, okay? So this is very, Capricorn on the ascendant is very much a, it's very much, you know, thinking about like, how to obtain money, or how to start a business, or, you know, there's always this energy of like needing, of like collecting, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, collecting practical, obtaining things, and oh shit, it's like right at the tip of my tongue. Obtaining resources and practical tools. Obtaining resources and practical tools for personal, like, for maybe like a personal business project, okay, or a personal business venture. If you have Capricorn on your ascendant, you like a lot of like what you do from a personal level, like everything about how you exude yourself in the world is like a direct reflection of your ability to build something or to accomplish something, okay? It's also very much in relation to, you know, how people view you. I think you care a lot about how people view you, and you want people to see you as like, you know, you look up to people who are successful. You want people to see you as successful. Like you care very much about that status, about having that kind of like, you know, that status, like, oh, you know, he or she is a successful person, or, you know, like they, like that's some like boss energy right there. Like that is someone who has their shit together, or who, you know, who's determined to accomplish their goals, right? Okay, we got that out. If you have Capricorn intercepted in your first house, I have Capricorn intercepted in my first house, and basically it just means that it's kind of like, it's kind of squeezed tight in there, okay? So it doesn't rule the first house, it doesn't rule the second house. It's just, it's nice and cozy in that first house, okay? An interception basically means that the energy is more internalized. It's a little bit more subconscious. You might need to work through a little bit more in order to figure certain things out, okay? So if you do want to start a certain project or anything like that, you might have to like work through some things out internally a little bit more in order to kind of like understand. So if you have Capricorn intercepted in your first house, the first house is going to represent the self, the identity, okay? So this could have a lot to do with like your own personal self. Like you could definitely go through many periods where perhaps like when you do start projects or when you do really go after certain goals or ambitious, you feel like you're constantly needing to work through some personal struggles in order to like overcome things so that you can accomplish these goals and these ambitions, okay? A lot of that could have to do with like the father, you know, you could have some, you know, if you have Capricorn intercepted in your first house, there could definitely be some more personal inner kind of things that are tied up with the father. And then, you know, as you develop, you know, you could have this very determined side to you, but it's kind of like in hibernation almost. It's a little bit more in the background. It's a little bit, it kind of takes place on a more subconscious level, okay? And there's a good chance that you might be more in your head about how to get to that next step. You know, what is it that you need to work on within yourself in order to, you know, get to that next step in progress, you know, in order to get to that next step in regards to your own personal success, how you view success, how you view your own ambition and your own determination and things like that, okay? So if you have Capricorn on the second house cusp, that means that Capricorn and Saturn are ruling your second house. Second house is the house of Taurus, okay? It's going to represent stability, personal resources, okay? Long-term stability, and also like the pleasure principles, okay? The things that you enjoy indulging in, okay? It has to do with the senses, okay? Taurus is very much about the senses. It has to do with the things that you find pleasure in, okay? Whether it's food or, you know, art or music, okay? And it also just has to do with like overall stability and comfort within your financial structure and foundation. So if you have Capricorn on your second house cusp, you could definitely be very savvy in regards to obtaining resources. You might know the right people to talk to if you're trying to go after something, or if you have a certain idea or if a certain project that you want to implement, okay? You might know who to talk to. You could be really good at getting started in regards to making long-term plans, you know, and making, you know, really kind of taking a look at your overall foundation and financial situation so that you can maybe like make a plan for the future to see where you're at, you know, to really acknowledge, you know, like what you're able to spend, you know, what you're able to, you know, I feel like you would be a lot more careful where Taurus might be more in, where Taurus just in and of itself might indulge more in their senses, indulge more in their, you know, in wanting to go out and splurge maybe, or just like Capricorn, you might be a little bit more just kind of cautious with your money, you know, just to see, like, you know, you might be a little bit more maybe like stingy per se, you know, like you want to make sure that you have your savings, but you also you're also really good at looking at what you can spend. And then like when you do acknowledge that like that kind of extra cash or extra you know, money that you have available, then you'll go out and you'll enjoy a good dinner. You know, you'll go out and you'll enjoy the museum, or you know, go see a concert, or go, go to the theater or something like that. Like something that really indulges your senses, okay? And you'll really enjoy kind of spending the money to go do that and to go take action and kind of like take part in those pleasures, you know, of what's of the arts and like what's available to you. Okay. You're also really good with resources. You probably know exactly, you know, who to reach out to, who to talk to. If there is some idea you have, or there's like a project or a business venture that you're trying to accomplish, you probably get along really, really well with like other Tauruses or other earth signs, especially in regards to establishing some kind of financial foundation or something in regards to business, okay? Now, if you have Capricorn intercepted in your second house, you could have like a lot of ideas, like basically like everything that I just said would be more internalized. So you can have a lot of ideas about things, and you can have a lot of really great ideas maybe about like projects or about business ideas or things that are in relation to the arts or music, you know, or maybe like wanting to, you can feel really inspired even by things that, that trigger your senses that you enjoy indulging in. It can inspire you to want to perhaps do something with that long term. However, you might be a little bit more introverted and shy about talking to people about it. You might be a little bit more, like you might know exactly who to talk to, but you might be a little bit more hesitant about kind of opening that door, okay? You might be a little bit more hesitant about opening that door. Maybe like overthinking a little bit more. You know, like trying to maybe like figure people out, see if maybe they would be interested first before opening up to them and like talking to them about it. So it's a little bit more of like an internal thought process that happens if you have Capricorn intercepted in your second house, okay? Now, if you have Capricorn on the third house cusp, the third house is going to be the house of Gemini. It's going to represent communication, siblings, close friendships, community, okay, short distance, travel, just like, you know, kind of more like community-oriented travel, okay? So Capricorn on the third house, you can be very, very, you can be one of those like friends that is really supportive of your friends. You know, like you really like to push your friends and your siblings and your cousins or like close family members or anybody who really just inhabits your close community relations. You could be one of those people who really like pushes other people to succeed. Okay. Like you really want to see the people around you become successful. You want to see other people succeed. You care very much about, seeing other people like make money and, you know, be like really excel at their talents and at their skills. Okay. So you could definitely be more of like a communicator, you know, like you might communicate your, that Capricorn-esque side to you, you know, that has to do with goals and ambitions. And, you know, you could be very curious when you meet new people, like about what their goals are, you know, like what are their dreams? What are their goals? Like you could be very curious about what other people are doing and involved in. Okay. You also very much like, I kind of, I see you also being kind of curious about, just generally speaking, like, you know, your community and perhaps like wanting, you know, maybe like you could be one of those people who like finds your job, you know, just like walking into, I don't know, like walking into some store like down the street or something like that. And, you know, being like, oh, this could be a cool place to work, you know, like something like that. And just like, you know, asking like the cashier questions or asking the person who works there like questions about the job and what it entails and things like that. And just generally feeling a sense of like, oh, okay, you know, that sounds like something I can do. Okay, so I kind of see that also if you have Capricorn on the third house cusp. Just someone who, you know, kind of enjoys the community dynamic of, you know, of work and like having a career. And you would probably also really enjoy if your career is oriented within like a community, right? So I feel like your career or your profession would have to be something that has a very strong kind of community type of foundation to it. I think that's what you would enjoy. So if you have Capricorn intercepted in your third house, you could probably see a lot of the potential of the people around you, around your surroundings, like whether it's siblings or friends or, you know, the community that you're involved in. You might maybe like see their potential or see more of like what you feel like they should be doing, but you might not say anything. So remember, interceptions are a little bit more internalized. This is kind of something that we work through within ourselves. It's kind of a more subconscious energy. And you might not just be as communicative about it, but it's something that you can definitely recognize in others. You can perhaps like recognize potential, or you could also be very much inspired, you know, here and there by things that your friends are doing or that your community is doing, but maybe you won't really do anything about it. You'll just kind of feel inspired. You'll acknowledge that it's there, but maybe you don't actually like take action. Sorry, my allergies. Gotta wipe the nose. Yeah, so that's pretty much Capricorn intercepted in the third house. If you have Capricorn on the fourth house cusp, the fourth house is going to represent, the fourth house is the house of Cancer, okay? So the fourth house is going to represent home, family, your roots, your heritage, you know, just kind of like the comfort of your home, you know, that feeling of your home. So if you have Capricorn on your fourth house cusp, you could have had a very like strict upbringing. Your parents could have been like very strict with you, your father, but it could also be the mother. But they could have been very strict with you, you know, really expecting a lot from you, really, you know, perhaps like they would have their own visions and their own dreams that they would, you know, kind of try to place on you. So a lot of that is definitely tied to the fourth house. And then like as you grow up, you might carry some of those same characteristics. Like you could be kind of like strict around the home. Like maybe you want things a certain way around the house. You could definitely kind of carry a bit of that like head of the household kind of energy within your own home. Like maybe you want things a certain kind of way. You know, you care, like your home is like your sanctuary. Okay. Your home is like your, you know, you work hard for it, you know, so to you, I feel like your home is the place that really, that really becomes a reflection of, you know, what you work hard to have, right? So like when you go to work and if you buy a home or if you rent or if you buy furniture or things like that, this is all inhabited within the home. A lot of the times the hard work that you put into having things, okay? You could have come from a family that's like very preoccupied with like possession, you know, with just kind of, I don't know, like everything being a certain way, like more traditional. Okay, it could be more traditional. You could have come from a very traditional home. And what else? You could also have, you know, you could definitely also be tied up very much to, you know, the cultural, traditions of your family. So like if your family comes from a certain religion or a certain culture or tradition, you could also carry with you those same, same traditions. And if you do end up doing something completely opposite, it's something like, I think that even if you did break out of that, you might still end up creating your own like traditional value driven way of like establishing your own home life. Okay. Now, if you have Capricorn intercepted in your fourth house, you could have been a very quiet child, you know, maybe your parents put a lot of like pressure on you, but you just kind of internalized it. Okay. You just kind of like kept it to yourself. You know, you kind of dealt with it inside. You could have went through some personal struggles as a child, thinking maybe like, you know, like you're not sure if you're good enough or you're not sure if you're going to be able to live up to your parents' expectations. So you could have went through a lot of that as a kid. You could also like find yourself, if you do live in a home with like a partner, you could also find yourself more quiet if other family members, like not so much like man of the house or whatever, like head of the household, male, female, whatever. The whole like head of the household energy might not be so outspoken, but rather it's more internalized. It's more of like an inner power, okay? It's more of an inner strength. And maybe you like allow people to just kind of, you allow the people around you to kind of do what they want, you know, whatever they want. You might be a little bit more relaxed. Because like you will internalize things and kind of like deal with things in your own way and within your own self. Okay. If you have Capricorn on your 5th house cusp, basically like you could be very, very much inspired to create or to start, like you could be inspired to want to work in like something that has to do with children. Like when I think of like Capricorn in the 5th house, I think of like I was going to say president. I think of a principal, okay, or a dean, or like a guidance, like a student counselor, right? I think of things like that. So the 5th house is the house of Leo. It's going to represent children, creativity, having fun. Okay. So I feel like your job, your career, like you have to have fun at your career. Like you have to feel inspired, okay, by having fun, or like by sports even. Okay. 5th house is also, I also think very much about sports when I think of the 5th house. But you need to feel inspired, whether it's by children. So like either like work in a school, or, you know, there could be, you know, something, you know, in some kind of creative environment, you know, and that can definitely inspire you to, you know, to want to boss up or, you know, run your own business. You could definitely have you could have a lot of ideas within the creative realm. You could be really like hands-on with your children if you have children. Trying to teach your children like the ways of the world, you know, like how to make money, how to be successful. Like you can be very hands-on with your children. Also, what else? You could also, like when it comes to like the romantic stages, right, of like a relationship, like when you first meet someone, like the whole like the whole flirty phase, you know, right before you start going out on dates. I could definitely see people who have Capricorn on their 5th house cusp, you know, being the types that will want to take, you know, the apple of their eye out on dates. You know, I can definitely see you being someone who would date. Now, also just like keep in mind, you guys, like these are all very general interpretations. So of course, depending on what you have going on in your personal chart, where your planets are falling, it can definitely alter these interpretations. But yeah, so I definitely see Capricorn in the 5th house as like someone who would be like interested in taking someone out on dates. Also, you know, I see a lot of like, I see very like encouraging kind of parents, you know, encouraging perhaps like their children, you know, to be creative, or to, you know, to work hard for the things that they want, like in a positive kind of way, right? Now, if you have Capricorn intercepted in your 5th house, it's just, you know, it's just a more internalized, inspired kind of energy, okay? You could be a little bit more quiet. You could really enjoy being in like, you know, creative environments. And you get a lot of your inspiration from creative environments, or from children, or from anything where you can really have fun, you know, like whether it's like some kind of like, you know, whether working at sporting events or like things like that. You can definitely get a lot of inspiration from your environment, but perhaps like you internalize it a little bit more, and things like that. Okay. Capricorn in the 6th house. Ooh, this is an interesting one to me, okay? So Capricorn, when I was reflecting on it earlier, I was reflecting on this video earlier today, but if you have Capricorn on your 6th house cusp, that is like double, you know, that is double Earth energy. Now, Virgo energy is very, very, you know, very much analytical and, you know, very much focused on the details and very much focused on like the craftsmanship of their work and of what they do, okay? In the day-to-day, you know, they're very much focused on the day-to-day, you know, definitely more like in the moment. They can really get lost in their craft, you know. So I can definitely see Capricorn in the 6th house as being very, very, you know, very, very passionate and very skilled in regards to the day-to-day of your job, right? Or of your skill, or like whatever it is that you're involved in. Now, this can be like technical stuff. I don't know, like I kind of get with Capricorn in the 6th house, I kind of get this like techie vibe, or I kind of get, or like medicine, or something that involves like formulas, or something that involves very intricate like ways of thinking, okay? Anything that kind of makes your, like, where your brain really you really need to use the different parts of your brain in order to like solve problems, and in order to you know, allow yourself to you know, kind of like go deeper within your own skill and within your own like routine, right? Like something. I also feel like Capricorn in the 6th house, you know, you're always looking how to like solve problems. I also kind of feel this as maybe for a lot of you, like thinking that, you know, I don't want to say that nothing is ever good enough, but it's like you kind of have to feed your own ego in a sense, okay? It's like you acknowledge your skill. You acknowledge your skill. You acknowledge that you're able to do things really well, but maybe you get a little bit bitter if that is not acknowledged from the outside. Like if the people that you're working for, or if the people in your environment are kind of like seeing that in you and, you know, encouraging it, perhaps like you can get a little, you know, like you could start to like have these like doubts, like maybe you feel like you're not good enough, or it could be completely the opposite. You know, you could feel like you're not being challenged, or you could feel like people aren't really recognizing your work ethic and your skill. And you can also start to feel like it's almost like you getting so into your work, and it's always in order to get to that next step. You work really, really hard, and you overcome problems, and you problem solve in order to like continue on that ladder, in order to get to the next step in your work, like evolution, right? In your, to get to, you know, the next level up, right? So there's like everything that you do in your day-to-day, it's always moving towards the next step. It's always moving towards that next goal. Okay. You could also be very health conscious for sure. What else? I mean, I think that's pretty much it. If you have Capricorn intercepted in your 6th house, pretty much like everything that I said, but you might internalize, like you could actually enjoy working alone without like people disturbing you. You probably like to be kind of independent and just kind of like doing your own thing without too many people like over your shoulder or disturbing you. You could be actually very content without anybody's input, whether good or bad. You know, you might be like okay with you know, your superiors like not acknowledging your work because like you become so focused. on your craft. But after a while, after a long period of time, you could start to develop, you know, like little moments of bitterness or resentment, because if things are not being offered to you, or if like, you know, you could kind of like be triggered one day to be like, man, like I should be getting paid more money, you know, like what the hell, you know. And that is when you're really going to need to find the courage within yourself to like speak up and to like say how you really feel, you know. So that could definitely be a challenge if you have Capricorn intercepted in the 6th house. If you have Capricorn on your 7th house cusp, this is the house, this is Libra's house. So this is the house of relationships, like interpersonal relationships, like close, you know, like romantic relationships, business partnerships, things like that. So you could definitely approach relationships from a very, you know, traditional kind of framework, okay, if you have Capricorn on your 7th house cusp. A little bit more traditional, you know, you and your partner might have more of that, you know, you share responsibilities, you know, it's kind of like, there could definitely be like an equal give and take, of energy and responsibility. Same with business, relationships. You could find yourself in some, you know, pretty balanced relationships. It could tend to feel maybe, you know, I guess it depends on what else you got going on in your chart, but relationships can definitely have like a restricting quality to them. And business partnerships as well can feel kind of restricting, especially if you do want to like open yourself up to having like interpersonal relationships with other people. It doesn't have to be like romantic or whatever, but just in general, like to open yourself up to having like closer connections with other people. The romantic or business like relationship that you're involved in can feel like you're kind of bound to that in a way, which makes it more difficult perhaps to like engage in a more interpersonal dynamic with others. But that's something that you can work through. And also, you know, you can be really good in like with like diplomatic ways. You can be really good at like, encouraging other people to start partnerships with you, to start things together with you. You might enjoy being in relationships like specifically because there's like financial benefits that go along with them. You know, you can definitely enjoy being in relationships because of that, because of the financial benefits, you know, especially if you're like splitting the cost of things. And, you know, and I also feel like you would probably need a partner who does understand, you know, your need to work and your desire to work and your desire to focus on your career and things like that. Now, if you have Capricorn intercepted in your 7th house, this can very much be like, you know, the first thing that I felt was like, you do enjoy being in relationships, but there can also be a sense of feeling a little stuck within the dynamic of your partner, and it being more difficult to kind of like break out into your own thing. With Capricorn intercepted in your 7th house, you can also find yourself in like a business partnership that you feel a little stuck in, or that you don't know how to get out of. So I'm feeling this very much as like an energy of like, either you accept the situation as it is and you like keep quiet and you just kind of work through your own shit, you know, and you just internalize it, or you actually do start to feel stuck and you try to figure out ways, and it's like you're always trying to, you know, like internalize and subconsciously like figure out ways to kind of like maybe like get out of the situation that you're in, or to like try to, it's like you're trying to, you know, it could be also one of those situations where like if you're in a relationship, you get lost in the other person's like world, and it could take some time, and like you identify, like your partner could take care of you, or you could identify very much with like whatever your partner is doing, and it could be a little bit more difficult to find your own personal like path of like, you know, in regards to your career, or like whatever it is that you want to do with your profession or with your career, or whatever the case may be. Okay, so that can definitely be a bit of a process to kind of figure that out. Now we're gonna get more interesting here. This one was really interesting to me when I was reflecting on it. Capricorn on the 8th house cusp. Woof. Okay, if you have Capricorn on the 8th house cusp, like you probably have like a secret life, maybe a secret girlfriend, I don't know. But Capricorn on the 8th house, like I was just like thinking of like someone who really enjoys, like, I don't know, like they, you know, they could have a lot of secrets, okay? This individual could have some financial secrets, or they could have this whole other, like, secret life that they live, you know? And it can be anything, okay? It can be like a gambling addiction. It can be like going to strip clubs. It could be like a fascination with sex, or like sex workers, you know, or you can be a sex worker, you know. It can be like anything within the realm of like occult, you know, wanting to, you know, like secret, but like, it's like secret. It's like secretly wanting to like learn more about yourself, and like, you know, like you're intrigued with maybe like the deeper, you know, you're intrigued with people who live life from this like deeper, and maybe who make money, who either live life, who have a lifestyle, or who make money doing, you know, kind of like more secret business transactions, or it could even be like illegal or like black market stuff, or occultish type of stuff. It could be like magic. It could be ritual. It could be tarot. It could be astrology. It could also be sex, you know. It can be, and also if you have Capricorn on the 8th house cusp, you know, you could also, you know, it doesn't have to be just like a person who's like intrigued with that. It could actually be a person who does, start a business, you know, you could start a business that's very much inspired with these kind of like darker realms, or these like more mysterious realms, these more occultish realms. I definitely tie, to me, like when it comes to like sex work, I definitely tie that in with like 8th house. You could also, you know, you could be a person who is like married and has a career, but has like, you know, like secrets basically. You could, people with Capricorn on the 8th house cusp, I also see this very much as like people who develop like fetishes later in life. I kind of see this as people who could be into like BDSM, or, you know, dom, you know, sub and dom types of relationships. Cause like Capricorn energy is already, can also be very, it's so restrictive and repressed that there's a kind of freedom that's allowed through these realms. Okay. This 8th house type of stuff kind of like allows the doors to open up for people who have some really deeper emotions, for, you know, like people with Capricorn in the 8th house might be seeking to break out of their own deeper emotional nature, okay? They could have had like an abusive father, or so you could have had like an abusive father, an abusive family. I'm trying to think right now. I think Capricorn on the 8th house is like Gemini rising or something like that. But I don't know. It can be a number of different things. What else? You could be like you could be like an auditor. Like you can work for like the IRS. If you have Capricorn on the 8th house, you can like be like a tax. What do you call those people? An accountant? I don't know. Like people who does your taxes. You can work for the secret government. You can be like a freaking, what do you call them? You could be like CIA. I don't know, something like that, okay? What else? Oh, you also probably, if you are in a relationship or if you are married or whatever, you probably like to control your partner's like money. Okay, you probably definitely want to be in control of their money. Let's see, Capricorn intercepted in the 8th house. You could be feeling a lot of these things that I said. Like you could have a desire to explore your sexual side in a deeper way. You could have a desire, you could have like a porn addiction. You can have this, or you can have other addictions, but you can have like a deep, deep, deep desire to want to do things, but you never do them. Maybe you like feel some shame within it. Or you think that, you know, it's like shameful. And you probably keep a lot of things secret. Like it's like, it goes even deeper than just having like a secret life. Like you might even feel like ashamed to explore the reality that those things even exist. You know, there could be some like kind of shame that goes on there, or, you know, you probably keep a lot of your fantasies to yourself. Keep a lot of those deeper fantasies and desires to yourself. Now, Capricorn on the 9th house cusp. The 8th house is Scorpio, basically, okay? Capricorn on the 9th house cusp, this is the house of Sagittarius. I keep thinking of this guy on TikTok. He goes, Sagittarius. He's just really funny. He pronounces all the zodiac signs in really funny ways. So, Capricorn on the 9th house cusp is going to be long distance travel. 9th house is foreign lands, long distance travel, culture, higher education, philosophy, also religion, belief structures. So I feel like if you have Capricorn on the 9th house cusp, you could definitely be interested in like doing business with people around the world, right? Like you probably enjoy traveling for work, traveling for business. You could have a business relationships with people from around the world. You can work in higher education. You can work in a college or in a school. I also see Capricorn on the 9th house cusp also as kind of like the dean or the principal, right, of a school. Very much so, like 5th house, 9th house. Also, let's see, what else? You know, maybe you want to, I also kind of see, although this is a little bit more 12th house, and Capricorn in the 12th house is a little bit more like wanting to be like a priest or something like that. Or like some kind of spiritual guru. Capricorn on the 9th house cusp. Yeah, I like to travel, like to do business with people in other areas of the world. You feel inspired by other cultures, and you bring that with you home, okay? When you visit other lands, you could definitely enjoy like going to the museums or like learning more about the history and the culture, and then kind of like taking that with you and implementing it somehow into your business practice or into your job or into your career. You get inspiration through that. What else? Yeah, it can also be higher education. I also see maybe like, well, that might also be 12th house, but like maybe like nonprofit, starting nonprofit organizations, things like that. Okay, so Capricorn intercepted in the 9th house. Probably enjoy working. You probably work for like maybe like another company, and like they always want you to travel, and you enjoy it. You know, it kind of like gives you some meditation. It allows you time to reflect and just kind of like be with yourself. And you probably also enjoy like going to like museums or like history, you know, learning about history of the places that you go to. Okay. It's just more internalized. It's more internalized. I see someone who's just like, you know, like enjoys like reading a book on a plane. I'm getting some very, very, very particular images here. Okay, let's move on to Capricorn in the 10th house. Okay, so Capricorn, we are now home in your 10th house. This is, the 10th house is the house of Capricorn. So if you have Capricorn on your 10th house cusp, that means you also have Capricorn on your midheaven. Okay, and the midheaven is basically the side of you that comes out in your within your career and within your profession. Okay, it's kind of like your ascendant, but it's mostly related to your career and your profession. This is how people kind of view you. So people within your career and profession view you very much as a hard worker, someone who's very ambitious, very goal oriented, very much, you know, kind of like has their shit together, you know, very, very much boss-like kind of energy. You could be the CEO of a company. You can definitely, I see a lot of people with Capricorn on their 10th house cusp, like straight up just wanting to start their own businesses. Okay. They just like, you know, and it can be like it can be anything. It can be, you know, restaurant business. It can be, you know, a fashion business. I don't know. Like, I see so many different things with Capricorn on the midheaven. Okay, very ambitious, very goal-oriented. You just have this like aura about you, this energy about you. People look up to you. People look to you for guidance. They look to you for support, for encouragement, you know, for anything within the realm of business or management or skill within that field that you're involved in. Capricorn intercepted in the 10th house. It's like that big boss energy is like lying dormant. Okay. It can take kind of a while for you to really get to that place to where you feel confident enough to like be that kind of boss energy. Like you can kind of feel it within you. You might feel it within you, but you still, you know, you're still a little unsure of yourself. Okay. You might still feel kind of like there's like a tug of war, or like a push and pull kind of energy that happens like in your surroundings, where it seems like there's always people kind of like trying to steal your shine or trying to kind of like steal your thunder, you know, like there could be that kind of energy happening if you have Capricorn intercepted in your 10th house. You know, and you know you have it within you, you know, like, you know, you have the, you know, it might just take you a little bit more courage, you know, you might just need a little bit more of a confidence boost, you know, maybe you didn't have your father around growing up, or maybe, I don't know, like something maybe happened growing up where maybe like, you know, your father or parental figure kind of like belittled you, or I don't know, like made you feel like you weren't quite there yet, or like you weren't like living up to their expectations, or like something like that. So yeah, it's more just about working through, it's going to be more just about working through like your self-confidence. Okay. Capricorn on the 11th house cusp. The 11th house is the house of Aquarius. This is the house of the collective consciousness, humanity, innovation, technology, the internet, social networks, social media, the future, you know, causes. So Capricorn on the 11th house cusp, you could definitely be interested in politics. Okay. I feel like people who have, my dad has Capricorn on the 11th house cusp, and I feel like people who have Capricorn on the 11th house cusp, they're very interested in politics. They're very interested in like international affairs and like what's going on around the world. And they have this like very intuitive perception on like the way the government operates. They have this very intuitive way of just knowing how the world works. And knowing how the world operates, and kind of like knowing how like humanity kind of like operates, you know, and what people are driven by. And what makes people, you know, want to go after their goals and ambitions, okay? A person with Capricorn on their 11th house cusp might not have any problem working for other like businesses and other people, but they're always going to be kind of like masters of what they do, of their particular skill. They will definitely be masters of their skill, a particular skill set, maybe be like head of a department. Like, you know, very also like, I also see Capricorn on the 11th house cusp as people who kind of like to teach others. You know, you like to kind of educate others. You like to encourage and teach others about your craft or about your skill, or encourage others to, you know, to follow their dreams, you know, encourage children or other people or whatever to kind of like, you know, you can have this like vision of the future. You can have this like, you know, you're definitely more open to the future than like just a regular Capricorn, okay? If you have Capricorn on the 11th house cusp, you're definitely more open to innovative ideas, and, you know, you might be more willing to explore the future, you know, and innovative projects and like science and things like that. Okay, you can also be very technically minded. This could be related to nonprofit organizations, or like wanting to, you know, maybe like run like a political campaign, or some kind of humanitarian cause or something like that. Capricorn intercepted in the 11th house. I feel like Capricorn intercepted in the 11th house is one of those people who's just like, who loves it when people come to them for advice, okay? They might be a little bit more quiet. You know, they could like keep to themselves a little bit more in regards to their work. And, you know, they're just like doing their job. They're just doing their thing, probably have some enjoyment of it, but they love people. So anyone who kind of like comes to you for advice or for guidance, or somebody is like, can you show me how to do this? You probably love that, you know, for someone to just kind of approach you and kind of like get you, it kind of gets you out of your box. It kind of gets you out there, you know, talking to people and socializing with people, because you might get so like, just kind of like wrapped up in your own, you know, in your own kind of like world with your own projects or whatever. So it's always nice when someone kind of pulls you out of that. I think you enjoy that. Now, Capricorn on the 12th house cusp can go so many different ways. Oh my God. So the 12th house is going to be the house of Pisces. This is the house of spirituality, imagination, the collective unconscious, symbolism, so much symbolism, mysticism, you know, the mythical realms. The realms in this 12th house is just like infinite, okay? You could run prisons in mental institutions, but it doesn't always have to be things like that, okay? Like I said, it can go many different ways. You could be very much connected to spirituality. You could have these like big dreams of like being a spiritual teacher, being some kind of guru, or like, I don't know, starting your own like spiritual practice, okay? Or like, this can also be something very creative, you know, because the house of Pisces is very creative. It deals a lot with symbolism and like kind of like being open to all these like other realms of thought and fantasy and imagination. Capricorn in the 12th house, I also kind of see this as like a publishing company, you know, someone who like, I don't know, who is like really good at seeing talented visionaries, like writers or artists or musicians, you know, like Capricorn on the 12th house cusp can be someone who like has like a you know, who like runs a music and, you know, who runs like a music label. What else? Yeah, I also kind of think of like spiritual gurus as well. So yeah, like you could always be thinking of ways of how you can turn your creativity into like a business, you know, into like a freaking, like, how can you turn your creativity? How can you turn your imagination, your dreams, your spirituality? How can you turn this into a business practice? So you could be always thinking about things like that. Now, if you have Capricorn intercepted in the 12th house, this could be a little bit difficult of a placement. You could deal with a lot of repressed stuff and always feeling like you can never fully understand your own feelings. I can see Capricorn intercepted in the 12th house as like, I don't know, like feeling like, like feeling like, I don't know, I don't want to say stuck, but like stuck in your head, or so like I kind of get this energy of like someone who's in their head a lot, okay, or someone who is stuck in the past. Someone who's stuck in the past a lot and who is stuck very much about perhaps like childhood trauma. You know, this could be someone who perhaps like needs the help of another individual, like who needs another, you know, whatever, whether it's like a psychiatrist or some kind of spiritual guidance, or like someone who needs help breaking creative barriers, or someone who needs help kind of like breaking down the walls and the that have been built up inside their own mind. You know, I can also see this as someone who is in isolation a lot. You know, whether it's like personal isolation, like kind of keeps to themselves and just kind of like, it would be an Aquarius rising. Like mentally, like maybe like mentally you feel kind of like trapped in a way. You feel kind of trapped within your own like symbolisms, like trapped within your own memories in a way, you know, like not really understanding how to like break out of them, you know, and you would then need the help of like an outside kind of like influence to kind of like probe it out of you in a way, or to kind of like trigger it to come out, you know. So I don't know, I also kind of see like Capricorn interceptions in the 12th house as being like inmates, and like maybe people who just kind of ended up on the wrong side of things. You know, people who are like confined, and things like that. You know, just people who basically like need help kind of like getting out of their own way. Like who need help kind of getting out of their own way, you know. This can be like an energy that is so deeply unconscious or subconscious that like, you know, you don't even realize that you're in your own way, or like your actions and the things that you do in life come from some deeper rooted thing that you're not even completely aware of because it's so deep inside of there. And that you're not even like completely aware of like what you're doing and why, you know. I can see like criminals with, you know, this placement. I mean, like, you know, you guys, like, we can all be criminals, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, like someone who like needs to understand their triggers. Like, I also feel like this person, a person who has Capricorn interception in their 12th house, can be one of those people who, like, in a single moment, like, I don't know, like, something, like, they can get triggered. Like, someone can just trigger them somehow, some way in a single moment, and then, like, they'll just snap. And they don't really even know where it comes from. Like, it can be completely unconsciously driven. You know, like, the reaction. Yeah, so this is that's it, you guys. So we made it through all the houses. We're back to the first house, okay? So this is my Capricorn through the houses video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Please stay tuned for the next one in this series. So it's going to be Aquarius through the houses. I'm going to film that next month. So yeah, let me know what you think down below. If you know what your chart is, if you know where you have Capricorn in your chart, if you agreed, if you disagreed, if you have some story to tell me, I would love, love, love to hear it. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. And I'll see you guys next time. That's it. Bye.